Welcome to Dare to Soar with your host, Dr. RC. Dr. RC will empower, encourage, and strengthen you. She will help you to soar to your highest potential while instilling hope. Please welcome the host of Dare to Soar, Dr. RC.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're listening from. Welcome to another inspiring episode of Dare to Soar with me, Dr. RC. Today, we gather in true spirit of social work, a profession rooted in justice, dignity, community, and the firm belief that every individual deserves to be seen, valued, and supported. As we open this space today, we are centering on a truth that is both deeply personal and profoundly universal. Wellness is community, and community is truly healing. And for Black women, especially in spaces where we are few, both are essential to survival and to thriving. As social workers, we understand that environments shape experiences. We know that reputations matter, visibility matters, and culturally grounded support also matters. Yet across this country, countless Black women find themselves navigating classrooms, workspaces, agencies, and entire cities where their presence is rare, misunderstood, and overlooked. And still, we root ourselves, we rise, we create sisterhoods, we were non existent. We build wellness in places where it was never offered. This is the power of our profession. This is the power of our resilience. So today's conversation is more than just a dialogue. It's a reflection of the core values of social work, affirming identity, restoring humanity, building community, and ensuring no one, no matter where they don't stand alone. We are honored to welcome a leader who embodies these principles every day. Someone doing the work and cultivating connection, wellness, and belonging for Black women in underrepresented spaces. You see, this episode is for every woman who has ever been the only one in the room, every woman creating community from scratch, every woman holding to their own identity in landscapes that don't mirror her own. Today, we speak your name, we honor your journey, and we affirm your right to wellness, joy, and sisterhood, no matter the setting. So let's soar into this powerful dialogue together. Good morning, good afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Once again, of course, I am Dr. RC, and this is Dare to Soar. This morning, I welcome my guest, Ms. Darcell Dance, LCSW, a lifelong resident of Portland, Oregon. She has a BA in journalism from the University of Oregon and a master's in social work from Portland State University and a social school counseling degree from from Portland State University and a certificate from George Fox University. Ms. Dance is the behavioral health supervisor from Multnomah programming and for preschool as well. And I know I kind of jumbled that up. So let me read that again because I want to get all of this correct. Ms. Dance is the behavioral health supervisor from Multnomah County Early Childhood Mental Health and consulting to preschool for all. She is a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and the co-owner of Mo Better Wellness Connections and facilitator to the president of Oregon Association of Black Social Workers. She's the co-founder and board chair of nonprofit Village 503. I want to welcome her this morning. Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Dr. RC. It's an honor being here today with you.
The honor is mine. I guess I'm having just lag brain this morning as I get everything started today. Had not had enough coffee, but that's okay. We are going to proceed on. Guys, this is going to be a treat this morning. Miss Dance, I love the last name. Miss Dance is going to drop some nuggets for us as we get started. She's going to dance. She's going to dance with this information. And this is a true, and I know it's going to be such a heartfelt conversation that we're going to have. She's going to be speaking truth to power as we get started. I know that a commercial break is going to come upon us, and I may just have enough time to read the first question, but I want to go ahead and get started. So if we have to have a commercial break, it's okay. It is okay. We're going to go ahead and get started. And then I promise you, she's going to circle back around. So with that being said, my first question for Miss Dance would be, what does the phrase rooted even when few personally mean to you as a Black woman living and working in Oregon?
I love that, rooted. And when I think of rooted, I think about my grandparents. I think about my parents. They came from Arkansas and traveled west to Oregon, Portland, Oregon at that. And they call it the whitest city in America. So they came, and I'm still here. There are times when I'm thought, okay, I got to get out of here. But, God had another plan. They're like, nope, you're not going anywhere. You're staying right where you are, rooted in Portland. And just important to just hold on to those roots of family and community that came from Arkansas, traveled west, and building that in a place that doesn't look like us. We're not very many here. 2 to 3% of Black people, that's the population in Oregon. 2 to 3% of the whole state population is Black people. And part of that is even people who are multi-race, not even just Black, but that's a very small number. And so when you go places and you don't see people who look like you and work, going to the store, it's hard to stay rooted. It's hard to feel welcome, even in a place that you were born there. So when I hear rooted, I'm like, in spite of all of that, we belong, we're here. Some of us aren't going anywhere. I live in a community now that's gentrified, and people look at you like, what are you doing here? It was traditionally a Black community. And now I never left. I've been here the whole time. But people will look at you like, that's weird. What are you doing here? I'm like, I am rooted. I'm grounded. I'm not going anywhere. So that's what it means to me. Even in places where you've been, but people look at you like you don't belong, you still take up that space and you say, no, this is my home and I'm going to stay here and I'm going to thrive. I love when you mention that word, thrive. We're going to not just survive, but we're going to thrive.
I love it. I love it. Guys, it is time for a commercial break. And I promise you, I'm going to have a couple of sips of coffee, as I always tell you guys. And Dr. RC is going to be back on track and on fire when she returns. So we'll be right back after this commercial break. See you then.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern, as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them. We discover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals.
Welcome back, guys. I told you I was going to have me some coffee. I'm ready for you now. I am ready, on fire. Miss Darcell Dance is here, my guest. Rooted even when few. That is the topic for this morning. Cultivating wellness and sisterhood and spaces where we are underrepresented. That's what she's dropping some golden nuggets on. I'm refreshed. I promise you. Had a little brain freeze, but that's okay. Dr. RC is on fire. Miss Dance, the last name, I told you, she's bringing the knowledge that's going to make you dance. But guess what? As I said, today we are speaking your name. So listen for it. The information that she's going to be dropping, the knowledge that she's going to be dropping, your name is on it. And if you don't hear your name, listen for your initials, because that's the kind of conversation that we're going to be having this morning. Your initials, and we're honoring your journey. I don't want to get too deep into this because that's why I have her, a leader in this field, on this particular topic. So, Miss Dance, let's get ready to dance and go to this next question. And this next question is his. Many Black women experience being the only one in the room. Eagles, did you hear me? Many Black women experience being the only one in the room. So, how has that impacted your wellness and leadership or sense of identity?
Yes, when you shared that question with me, I reflected back, even being a little one, living in Portland. Um, yeah, living in Portland, Oregon, going to school. At that time, they bused children to white schools to go to school. And so I went from my community, a Black community, which it was pretty intact as a Black community at that time before gentrification, which I mentioned, but I was bused to like a white area to go to school and with other Black kids, but you could be like very few and even in the classroom early on. So it just was kind of brought up experiencing that. So that was kind of my experience all through school, even when I went to college. So I mentioned that Portland is one of the whitest cities in America. Eugene, Oregon is even more white than Portland, Oregon. And I went to school in Eugene, so had experience going to college. And just so that had been kind of almost my normal.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, that was my normal. And so going into work settings, that just, you kind of expected it. You might be the only one or one of a few. When I worked at Multnomah County, I've been trying to get into the county for the longest time, trying to get in, and finally got hired. I was the only Black person on the team, but we worked with Black and brown kids. But I was the only Black person on the team. And immediately I was like, do y'all see what's going on with our kids, with my kids? Um, they're being discriminated against, they're being treated not the way they should be treated. And I'm in a uproar, like, wait a minute, we're not gonna do that to my kids. And people who are working with them were just kind of like, well, that's kind of the way it is. And I'm like, oh no, we can't have that. And so having to speak up and advocate and being the only Black person, Black woman in the
Mhm.
room doing
Mhm.
that work. And so, just as I mentioned, that was kind of like the norm. But as I start getting into leadership positions, I'm like, we cannot have that continue to happen. And luckily, I had a supervisor who felt that way too. Started hiring another one, like another one, and then
Mhm.
another one. And now my team that I supervise is extremely diverse. We
Mhm.
actually reflect the communities that we serve. But yes, that was definitely common in school as a young child, in college, and in work settings as well. Very common.
Mhm. And Ms. Nance, I'm so glad that you brought those 2 points out, because although we're having this conversation and it's focused on underrepresentation, as is geared towards Black women, the fact that you brought out in leadership, and now that you've stepped into the role of leadership, prior to you stepping on in that lane, that you had a supervisor or had a leader that it was not recognized, but your leadership did recognize it
Mhm.
and wanted to change that process. And I say that to bring that back full circle as we have this conversation, is that no, you may not be a female, a Black female, but it does not mean that you cannot be a part of the conversation, because it's awareness is key. And when you're willing to take notice of what's happening, it's about being a part of the solution
Mhm.
and not being a part of the quote unquote problem, if you
Mhm.
will, because it's about everyone working together, because we have to work together. We have to work together in any system that you're a part of, any system that you're in, because when it all boils down, it's about working towards the greater good. And I
Mhm.
just wanted to put that out. So I'm so glad that you put that out there. See, I told you Miss Nance was going to make you dance and drop some nuggets. I did not tell you she was. Oh, I'm so glad she brought that piece out. So thank you so much for bringing that full circle. Oh, I love that. Thank you. Rooted even when few. Said, even though you may not be in this lane, it does not mean that you are not able to dialogue in as a part of the conversation. Cultivating wellness, and sisterhood in spaces when we are underrepresented. I had to say that title again. Miss Darcell Dance in Portland, Oregon. That is who my guest is for this morning. Definitely having this dialogue, because it is an important conversation to have as we move forward. Now, I want to continue to dig deep and dig in, because each question is going to get a little deeper. And guess,
Mhm.
I know, Dare to Soar family, I know that you are looking forward to all that's going to be brought in this hour. But you're going to have to hold tight, because she just dropped some gold nuggets for you. I told you, we are honoring you, speaking your name. If you don't hear your name, listen for your initials. And if you don't hear her say your initials, and it's impossible because it's 26 letters in the alphabet, it's impossible not to hear your letters. But guess what? You can relate to some conversations. And if you can't relate to the conversations, you know someone who has walked this path. I'm getting the 30-second mark. My engineer is telling me, Dr. RC, it's time to get off. So I'm going to go ahead and get off and go to this commercial break. We will be right back. I promise you. She has more to share. Don't go away. Get some water, coffee, tea, but make sure you return.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like, it was almost instant. Like, I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back once again. I am Dr. RC, your host. And yes, this is Dare to Soar. What a conversation we are having this morning with my guest, Miss Darcell Dance. I want to jump right back into this conversation because when I tell you this next question, so I hope you had an opportunity to get that coffee, that tea, or that water, and you're relaxing. And even if you're driving, turn the speaker up because I know you want to be in tune for this next question that I'm about to ask her. And here's the question. What are some of the invisible weights or emotional labor Black women carry when representation is limited?
Yes, great question. I've been like in meetings, especially in leadership, where I'm in meetings and people can talk to you and say things so disrespectfully. And you're just looking around like, did you hear what that person just said? And people
Mhm,
are just acting like they didn't hear anything. And I'm like, wow, really? And then, but if you speak up, then you're the issue, or
mhm,
you're yelling, or even if you're not. And so I've had that happen repeatedly where I'll be in a meeting space and people will be like talking to me and like disrespectfully, and they're not talking to anyone else like that. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting. And then I'll talk to the people like, yeah, what's up with that? Yeah, we noticed that. I'm like, hmm. And then to the point where I had to talk to my manager to be like, you know what? I don't have to deal with that. That is not
mhm,
okay. No one's speaking up. And if I speak up, here's what's going to happen. Even if I'm speaking, just like we're talking like right now, they're going to say, oh, she was yelling at me and all of that. And I'm like, I can't even do that. I can't go there and I can't play that with anybody. So I luckily, thank goodness, I have a manager who has seen it as well. She's been in the spaces and going like, wait a minute, what is going on? So I'm not just making it up. You've seen it too.
mhm,
And she has my back. And then I can just be like, okay, let me set boundaries. We talk about boundaries in social work quite a bit. So let
mhm,
me set that boundary that I don't have to deal with that.
mhm,
That is
mhm,
not okay. And yeah, I get paid, but I don't get paid for that. And
mhm, mhm,
one particular person who was doing that kind of thing repeatedly, I just said, you know what? I don't think I really need to be in meetings with this person because she has other people that work with her that I can work with and we can still move the work forward, but I don't need to talk with her. And then my manager supported me and said, okay, no, you're right. She doesn't need to be in the meetings with you. And then
mhm.
she's like, what? What do you mean? What did I do? Can I talk with her? And I'm like, no, we're not doing that. And even before all of that happened, this person was talked to, and then they were like sugary sweet and really nice for a while, but then it started happening again. And I just said, no, no, I can't do that. We're not going to go back and forth. And then I can't come out of my character because then people are going to be like,
Yes.
did you hear what she said and how she said it and how she treated her? And I just had to set that boundary and not even go there.
Yeah, and that's always a great thing not to come out of your character. And I'm glad that you said, happy that you brought that point out. Also, it's great if you have a work buddy. I know I have a colleague who always talks about having a work buddy. A work buddy is always great to have because sometimes you just kind of need to take a step back as you hear different conversations or you have different interactions, and having that work buddy to have
Mhm,
dialogue with also, and then take the following needed steps as well. So those are
mhm,
great points to bring out because this is the reality and it is real. You definitely have to be able to address things as it happens and not have them to be belabored because they do need to
mhm,
be addressed in the most appropriate way, and directly and head on as well. And those are
mhm,
key elements to do that. So definitely we have to address those things. Rooted even when few. And this is the reality, as I said, it's a call to action, and the call to action is collaboration and bringing awareness and bringing it to the forefront. And this is why this conversation is so critical, cultivating wellness. And it is about cultivating wellness because it's about being well. And the wellness comes in an individual's mental health. Because when you're having conversations, it could definitely impact someone's mental health. So I wanted to put that out there also as we definitely have this conversation. So as we continue on, Miss Dance, what wellness, and brings me to this, when we talk about mental health and wellness, what wellness practices or supports become essential for Black women who are underrepresented in communities or even workplaces?
Yes, my daughter and I, her name is Asha. We started a business, and you mentioned it at the top of the hour. It's called Mo Better Wellness Connection and Facilitation. And we created that because we realized that if we don't intentionally take care of our wellness, it doesn't happen. I mean, you
Mhm.
literally have to like plan it out because as Black women in particular, we take care of everybody. We're taking care of our man, we're taking care of our kids. If we don't have kids, somebody has kids, we're taking care of them. We're taking
Mhm.
care of our, significant others. We're taking care, some of us have like aging parents that we're taking care of. We're
Yes.
taking care of everybody at work. We're taking care of people at work. "Oh, you're
Yeah.
such a good listener. Can I talk to you about what's going on with me?" And I mean, you're doing all of that. And I always say, like, I wish I could go to work and just do my job, but you can't even just go to work and do your job. You're doing all the things. Can you be on this committee? Can you do that? Can you?
Yes.
And we're not wanting to talk about community. We mentioned we're Soar. So even we're doing all of that too. We're like public service. We're doing things in the community, at church. How do we have time? How do we do all of that? But we're
Mhm.
always taking care of everybody and everything. But then
Yes.
what about us? And I was thinking about that song in Dreamgirls where it goes, "What about me? What about what I need?" And I started thinking about that. and and if we don't say, "What about me?" And people might not do that for you, but you have to do that for yourself and be like, you know
Mhm.
what? No is a full sentence. We say that a lot. No is a full sentence. Let me just take a step back and not have to explain it either. Like, no, not
Yeah.
doing that,
Yeah.
or no, and just doing things that really bring you joy that you want to do. What fills your cup?
Mhm.
Are you pouring out and pouring out and pouring out and you're not getting anything back in? But like, what do you need for yourself? So in our
Yes.
business, we actually intentionally provide space for women. We only have been doing it once a year for the community, but people look forward to it. We come together. We have like a full morning where we just kind of like come on in. We have music playing, get something to eat, just have a seat and chit chat. We do mix and mingling. We breathing exercises. We do all kinds of getting to know each other. We journal, we do a little dancing, we do a lot of laughing, we do some crying, we do a little bit of everything, but it's just our time to like, you
Mhm.
know what? During this block of time, it's for me. I'm gonna like
Yeah.
do that and be in community with other Black women. And it's
Mhm.
not women of color, and we're very specific about that. It's for
Mhm.
Black women to come
Yeah.
together and be in community.
I love that. And what a way to go on a commercial break. See, I told you each time we had give you something to hold on to. It is time for a commercial break. Miss Darcell Dance. We will be right back.
Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant. Like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Welcome back once again. Oh, this conversation is so enlightening. Did not tell you Miss Darcell Dance was going to be dropping some nuggets, and she has been dropping some nuggets. And as you notice, I promise you, I did not plan it, but they have been kind of strategically planned, if you will, because it's close to the break that those golden nuggets, I won't say platinum nuggets, have been given to you like right before the breaks. So I truly hope that those notebooks and, those pencils, pens, whatever that favorite utensil, that tool that you like to write with has been utilized, because she's been dropping them for you. Collaboration is the key. Wellness is the key. We're being rooted in spaces where there are few. I know that you're getting so much. Oh, did I mention that this is Dare to Soar and I'm Dr. RC? Oh, there it is. So I want to continue on with our conversation because she does have more to share. I truly, truly hope that you're getting so much out of this conversation this morning. So as we continue on, I want to ask Ms. Dance, how can Black women intentionally create sisterhood and community when their numbers are small and when isolation is real?
I think one really key thing is not looking at each other as competition, which sometimes can happen, unfortunately. And if you win, I win.
Mhm,
And so just mentorship, I think, is so important. I mentioned where I work at, we were trying to like make our team more diverse. So if I felt like, okay, if I'm in competition with somebody, then I don't want to bring anybody else in. But it's like the
mhm,
opposite of that. It's more of like, no, I want more people in, and I want to get support and then to give support back to other women as well. And so you mentioned like that work buddy type of a thing. You mentioned
mhm,
that a little while ago. And as I came to mind, I have like a person who's my lead on my team,
mhm,
and was able to bring her on like early on as I was developing a new team that I'm supervising, and just pouring into her, mentoring her, and providing opportunities for her to be a leader too. But if it was more of a
mhm,
competition thing, it would be like, well, I don't want her knowing what I do because then I could be replaced, or something like that. But I never ever felt that way. I felt like, no, how can I pour into her? How can I prepare her for, like, we're going to grow eventually, and I want her to be lined up. So when
mhm,
that happens, it won't be like, can she do it? They've been seeing her do it. She's already been doing it, and she's prepared. So that is one thing, is like, let's support each other, mentor each other, build each other up. And then also, in Portland in particular, we hibernate. And people like hear that
mhm,
and they kind of laugh. But I'm like, no, really, when the fall and winter, which we're in right now, when that happens, people are indoors. They come out and go wherever they need to go to, and they come back in.
mhm.
We're not just out hanging around. We're out in the summer. And in the summer, and the spring. And so people, when they move to Portland, sometimes they move in the summer, maybe, or they've been there in the summer, they're like, where is everybody? They're inside. So you have to kind of cultivate, how do you get together with people?
Mhm,
You have to be intentional when people invite you to things, go. I know there's been
mhm,
people who have come to Portland. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to connect you, and then they don't come to things, and I don't know, maybe they're shy. I don't know, but I'm like, but
mhm,
no, like if someone's inviting you, come out. You have to come out. You have to come outside or come to things, even if you're nervous, because otherwise you aren't gonna see people. And what I've noticed over and over again, people move to Portland for like to work at some of these big industries that we have. We have some big companies in the Portland, Beaverton area. They move there and they think, oh, Portland's cool. And they get here and they get real isolated and lonely. And then
Mm,
they don't stay very long. They're like, oh, I can't be here. And that's part of why we started our business too, is we want to like, no, we want you here. Here's how you build community. Here's how you
mhm,
find people. Here's what's going on. You might not know the events. How can we connect you and help you with that?
mhm.
Because yeah, if you're just in your house, you don't know what to go to, you might think like, nobody's here for me. I'm just going to leave. And that happens over and over and
Yeah,
over again. People don't stay very long.
yeah.
And then we're just like, okay, we lost another one. And businesses like wonder like, why'd they leave? They were working here and then they left. Even if the work is going well, but sometimes it's not going well. Even if the work is going well, but they just don't have that community. And then they just feel like I can't be here. I need that.
I think that's I'm not going to say, I think the business with you and your daughter, it's a really beautiful thing because it pulls individuals in and it gives them that warmth, a sense of belonging. And we know how important that is. You want to have a sense of belonging because oftentimes when individuals feel as though they're in isolation, they don't have that sense of belonging. They don't have that sense of connection, and to know that they have that camaraderie and they can, pick up I'm not going to say pick up the phone,
Mhm.
because in a sense of pick up the phone, we don't pick up the phone like that anymore. I don't want to age or date myself, but you guys, there's some family, you guys get what I'm saying. That time doesn't happen. It's so much texting now. That's the way that you communicate with one another. But just if we go back to COVID, that was such a daunting time when you never knew how much you missed actually physically being able to see someone until you couldn't.
Mhm.
And then you had that reflection of, oh gosh, I'm so sick of looking at these walls in my house until I don't know what I'm going to do. So I absolutely love that you all have put that together to be able to pull individuals out of their comfort zone. And that's really what it is. We tend to get in our comfort zone and just like, oh, I'm not going anywhere today until you can't. And then you really, really miss it and say, oh, I wish I could go somewhere. So doing that, it's really, really a beautiful, beautiful thing. And then when you spoke about the 2 to 3%, and it's like, I know when before my husband retired from the military, it wasn't like a 2 to 3%. But when you just think about military, it's an isolation in a sense because the military has a world of its own, and it's so structured and focused in that way until you have to be so aligned to that, and it's no out of the box way of thinking. It is that way and that is
Mhm.
it. So that is the structure of it. But yes, doing that and just knowing that you are connecting the dots in that way, it is absolutely a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
Okay, I've gone off on a little bit of a tangent, but guys, you get it. You know what I'm talking about. We're dancing here. We're dancing here. But it's time for another commercial break. We will be right back. Don't go away. See you after the commercial break.
Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk. What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to easysense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's easysense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation.
Welcome back once again. Good Saturday morning, guys. Our time is going by so quickly. Miss Darcell Dance is the person that I have. I keep saying that name because I just love dance. Oh, I feel a move coming on, but I'm not going to do that. I want to make great use of our time that we have left. So I want to jump back in. Rooted even when few. That is our topic for this morning, and that's a part of it. So I just want to give you that little tidbit as we go back into the questioning. So instead, can you share a moment when you realize the power and sometimes the burden of representation?
Yes, I had mentioned a little bit earlier, just being in meetings and people might say something racist and they call things microaggressions, but it doesn't feel micro.
Hmm.
And so people will say things and then I talked to my team about it later. It's almost like I had like a out of body experience when that happens. Like I'm
Hmm.
just like in my head, I'm physically in the room, but in my head, I'm like somewhere else. I'm like, wow, did that
Hmm.
really just happen? Oh wow, are they saying what I thought they just said? This can't be. Wait, what is going on? And in the moment, you can't even like speak to it. It's almost like a paralyzing feeling. I don't. If you haven't experienced it, that's what it feels like. It's almost like a paralyzing feeling where you just can't even speak. You're just like,
Hmm.
wow, that's a lot going on right now. I can't even form words to even talk to this person. I don't even know how I'm feeling. I'm feeling like many things. I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling mad, I'm feeling like all these feels. And so when things like that happen, and then it's kind of on you to deal with it. Like I think I'd mentioned, sometimes people look at you like, well, what are you going to do? What are you going to say? And no one speaks up, no one says anything. And then you're just like, "Oh, if I don't say anything, no one's gonna do anything about it."
Hmm.
That's exhausting. That is so exhausting. And I've said this before, but I wish I could just come to work and just do my job like everybody else. They just come to
Hmm.
work and do their 9 to 5, do their job, and they go home and have their nice life. But like in the midst of my job, in the midst of my day, things like that happen. And I'm like,
Hmm.
"Oh." And then afterwards, you're not okay. You're literally not
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah.
You're just like replaying it over and over and over again and like, "Oh, maybe I should have did this, maybe I should have said that." And then maybe a day or 2 goes by and like, "Okay, but now I have to address it. I can't just let it go." And all these things are happening. And
Yeah.
so that's a super huge burden on a Black woman and Black men or whoever is experiencing that.
Hmm.
But, as a Black woman, I experienced it so many times where even though I've been harmed, like, I got harmed, this harmed me. No one's like, "Are you okay?" No one's doing that. And but then I also have to go back and like, "Okay, what are we gonna do about that?"
Hmm.
Exhausting, absolutely
Yeah.
exhausting.
Yeah.
So not only do I have to try to like, how do I take care of myself? Talking to people I care about, who care about me. Here's what happened, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay, let me debrief it with you, but then I have to go back in and, okay, now what are we gonna do about it?
Hmm.
Now I have
Hmm.
to try to fix what I got harmed and I'm trying to fix it.
Yeah. 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 Now, which is a great segue into this next question. So, when transitions like that have, or incidents, I'm not going to
Mhm,
say transit, incidents like that occur, what message would you offer to a Black woman who feels unseen,
mhm.
isolated, or disconnected where they live or even work?
Definitely, you have to build your own community of people you trust even if it's not someone at your workplace, but if you can reach out to someone else who hopefully understands or at least can be that listening ear. But being in isolation is not a good thing, because if you're like me, I'll like replay it. I'll just keep replaying it, and then it kind of almost like paralyzes you where you can't move forward. You
Mhm.
can't keep doing what you need to do, not only in the work that you're doing, but also for yourself personally, like in your own life. You're just like, wait a minute, you can be stuck. So
Yeah.
definitely, and not diminishing or minimizing it. It's real.
Mhm.
Like, oh, if I just was like tougher, it wouldn't be a big deal, or I just shake it off. Like, you shouldn't have to just shake it off. It's not okay
Mhm.
that you have to deal with that. But like
Yeah.
not minimizing it. And if people try to minimize it for you, like, no, that harmed me. It was real. It
Mhm.
should not happen. And my feelings are my feelings and they're justified. And just getting
Yes.
support for yourself. Like I said, even if it's not in your workspace, but finding out who can I talk to get that
Mhm.
support. It might be a therapist. It might be whoever that is that you need to talk to have that,
Okay.
because just living with it and holding it, it's a lot. It's exhausting.
Mhm. Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Great nuggets, great nuggets. Because the transparency pieces that you shared, you have to first be honest with yourself
Mhm.
and identify what's happening within you. And if you can't identify that, then you're going to place yourself in harm, and you want to be healthy. And that's what when the topic comes in rooted, when you're few, but cultivating the wellness. And we want to make sure that you're well. You have to make sure that you're well, because just as you said a little earlier, you can't pour from an empty cup, and want to be
Mhm.
clear about that. That's what it's important to have conversations such as this. So as we move forward, as we look towards the future, and we had that crystal ball, which we all wish that we had a crystal ball. How can social workers, allies, and community, organizations, how can they better support the wellness and the visibility of Black women? I know that's a hot question. That's why I saved it to the end.
Definitely. I think like we're doing today, having those conversations about it, knowing that it's real, it's not an isolated incident that happened. It happens to us all the time in all different spaces. So just even like bringing it, bring it out in the open, uncovering it. Like, here's what's actually going on. And I know in our spaces, we've cultivated like affinity spaces, which are amazing. Some workplaces might not like that because, like, what are y'all talking about in there? They want to know, like, what are y'all talking about? But like actually having affinity spaces where Black women can even come together and talk, if you have more than one. And if you don't have it in your workspace, like, okay, how can I create that space someplace else? Like, it might be, we have technology. It might be a Zoom call. It might be a Google Meet or whatever that may be. Like, okay, ladies, let's come together and talk and support each other, because it's so healing when you're like talking with other women and you're like, oh, I thought it was just me. No, it's not just you. And it's not just you. And like I said, even when people are diminishing it, like, I didn't mean it that way and all of that. Well, you said it. And just being able to like just put it out there. And I think if social work organizations, and we have Black social workers in Oregon, we have our group. We're coming up on 5 years in January. Real excited. And even though it's open to like every Black people, Black men and women, the women are the one coming to the meetings most of the time. We don't hardly have any guys. So that's kind of a cultivated space where it's like Black women kind of coming together, even in our Black social worker group. But talking about training, putting training out there, not just for us, but for other people, like you're mentioning, who can change systems and policies, putting information out there to them so that they are aware of what they can do. How can I help? Well, here are things you can do. You can be supportive in these particular ways. So trainings, affinity spaces, wellness spaces. I'm all for like mental health days when people are like, what's that? Is that a thing? It's a thing. You know, it's a
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And then when people are like, I need to take a day, let people take a day. and not questioning, like, why, what's going on with you? Like, I keep saying, oh, you want me to take a day. You really do. You really want me to take a day so I can take care of myself. And
Mhm.
so just things like that, wellness, affinity spaces, training, all of those things are wonderful. And just normalizing it, putting it out there so that people aren't in isolation and acting like things aren't happening.
Mhm. Fantastic. It's time for a commercial break, guys. We will be wrapping up when we come back to close out the show. See you in a few.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of The Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on The Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern, as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com.
Welcome back once again. Yes, this is Dare to Soar, and I am Dr. RC. My guest for today was Miss Darcell Dance. She has given us so much to think about, so many great nuggets, and so much transparency as well. I just have one last question, Ms. Dance. So individuals who are interested in becoming a member of this association, please can you share website information as to how they can become a member if interested?
Yes, so there's a national organization, National Association of Black Social Workers. It's NABSW.org. And then when you go on there, depending on what state and city you live in, there are chapters like all over that you can join as well. And as I mentioned, ours is Oregon. We're coming up on, I'm gonna keep saying it, we're coming up on 5 years. We're celebrating. We're gonna do a fun event in person because we got to get outside even in the winter, but we're gonna get outside and do a fun event. But yes, you can go on there, look up the national organization, and then you can find out what your local chapter is that you can join as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're
Just as a
welcome.
reminder, today's topic was rooted even when few. I wanted you just to remind you, cultivating wellness and sisterhood in spaces where we are underrepresented. And here's another reminder. We gather today in this true spirit of social work, a profession rooted in justice, dignity, community, and the belief that every individual deserves to be seen, valued, and supported. Ms. Dance, thank you for your honesty, your wisdom, and your heart. Today, you reminded us that wellness is our bright right, as our birthright. Sisterhood is our strength, and representation, whether plentiful or scarce, does not limit our power to root. It doesn't allow our power to root, and it does not stop us from rising or blooming. To every listener, I want you to know whether you live in a city overflowing with culture or connection, or one where you are carving your own space and path. Let this episode resonate and remind you you're not alone. You are needed and you are seen. And even when there is few, you're still profoundly rooted because you're there. Until next time, keep soaring and keep going higher. And never be afraid to elevate to new heights as you spread your wings and dare to soar. Thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
This has been Dare to Soar with your host, Dr. RC. Come take a ride and soar to your highest level possible each week on Dr. RC's Dare to Soar.